Yes. New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law, JSA 10-4-6. Acted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of attend meetings of public bodies of which any business affecting interest is discussed and acted upon in accordance with provisions of this Act. Board of Fire Commissioners, District Number 1, Township of Mount Holly. It's called notice of the meeting be published having a date, time, place, and agenda to the extent known thereof. Posted as follows. Published in Burlington County Times, January 4th, 2025. Published in the Courier Post, January 4th, 2025. Filed written notice to the Township Clerk, December 29th, 2024. Posted written notice in the official bulletin board of the Township Building, Mount Holly, and posted on the district website.
Thank you. Can I have a roll call?
Commissioner Lowe?
Here.
Commissioner Shepherd?
Here.
Commissioner Brown? Commissioner Gaskell?
Here.
Chairwoman Saucier?
Here. Can we stand for a pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence, please?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated.
Moving right along. Can we have the approval of minutes from August 6th, 2025? Can I have a motion? A second. Thank you. Can I have a roll
Can
call?
I, just really quickly, I love that these are much more in-depth, Nick, I'm sorry. I can appreciate that these are much more in-depth than previous meetings. I'm wondering if we're going to be as detailed, if it wouldn't benefit both us and those who read them in the future to maybe avail ourselves of some kind of AI or transcription service so we can be as accurate as possible? Okay, and actually put it then in transcript form rather than, you know, a description of. So it reads a little bit more like storytelling than an actual transcript. So I wonder if that's not something we might visit going forward.
Typically, meeting minutes are done this way as a summary so that people can read through them faster.
Okay.
You certainly can pay to have a transcriber here also, a court reporter. That's very expensive, and most public boards would not take that step. Sometimes for in the sewage context, in a rate hearing, they might pay to have that meeting transcribed, but normally you wouldn't have the minutes verbatim typed out because it would be a very long transcript. And actually, I think sort of hinders public access.
Oh, I don't
rather than
disagree.
the summary.
I don't disagree. So then secondarily, maybe you'll be able to answer this for me. If we reach a point where this room has the capability to record these, do you record both a written set of minutes and submit a video set of minutes once, if that is a technology that's available to you as a unit?
So typically, if a member of the public could request a verbatim copy of the record, whether that be audio or if in the future you have video copy.
Awesome, appreciate it, thank you very much.
Our, Sam is now using the AI recorder we just required. So that'll improve greatly the process. And then the last minute took her a long time to do. So this will cut that down.
So-
AI capable recorder now.
So that's what we're using now, we were not using that for these minutes, is that
We were
correct?
just recording it on a district issued phone, so she would listen.
No, I want to
Now-
applaud you, Sam, they're very extensive, and I'm grateful for the recording of them. I just was sort of hoping we could maybe find a resolution to make that a little easier for you.
You had a motion?
We had a motion and a second.
Commissioner Lowe?
Yes.
Commissioner Shepherd?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown? Sorry. Commissioner Gaskell?
Yes.
Chairwoman Saucier?
Yes. Moving on. We have have the approval of requisitions as reported by the treasurer. Can I have a motion?
Real quick, what's the Staples credit plan for? We bought something.
Bank boxes, they were boxes for
Oh, for relief.
Yes.
It was,
Good to-
moving documents from Good Intent down here.
Okay, thank you.
And I have a question about the Amazon list. This Academy appraisal for 100 Garden Street.
I'm sorry, Amazon or which one, or the appraisal?
The Amazon bill list, third from the bottom, Academy Appraisal Incorporated.
Actually, the debit list,
I beg your pardon.
pays that are paid through debit card.
Okay, I'm sorry, it's listed, it reads here as Amazon bill list 2025. So forgive.
The debit payment separately added.
Excellent, thank you for the clarity, then that makes.
As I noted to you guys, in the transmission via email, that we've reconciled and improved all of that. So
No,
there's
and that's.
more accountability now. It was not the greatest, so we've improved it, so it's a more streamlined process for the acquisitions of the day-to-day things, if you will.
Once again, can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
A second.
Can I have a roll call?
Commissioner Lowe?
Yes.
Commissioner Shepherd?
Yes.
Commissioner Gaskell?
Yes.
Chairwoman Saucier?
Yes. All right, we'll move to reports from personnel. Director?
Wait, 1 second, Director, would you like me to ask my questions at the end or in between, your bullet points?
It's entirely up to you. Just let me know which one, so I can.
I'll wait till the end. Yes.
All right. All right, August 2025, duty crew program has begun, very successful this far, and we have more members joining, as you can see on the agenda. Buildings and grounds, there was 5 reels for airlines installed in the bays for the trucks. Again, this was, most firehouses have these. It was kind of a short-sightedness, if you will, when whoever designed the bays did not have this capability. That's been rectified to expedite response times, so no trucks will have to require to build up air pressure. A timer switch was installed in the bay for the exhaust fan. We've finally gained control of Skynet. I've been calling the system here. For those who don't understand that reference, it's Terminator. So it's all computerized now. Mr. Kyle Pipes has been very helpful in getting everything under control and figuring out the zones and the temperatures and the humidity. But one issue we were having is the lack of ventilation in the bays. We're still probably gonna need some type of fans installed to circulate air on a regular basis, but with the switch gave us the ability to turn that exhaust fan and then open the louvers as needed, but it's on a timer so it doesn't run out of control. Because previously it was set just to go activate when a CO, carbon monoxide alarm went off. And that was the only time it would ventilate the bays. So that's been rectified. New Jersey American Water initially declined to add the fire hydrant we discussed, that we really greatly need to the rear of the property. I say initially because there's been correspondence back, where they offered an alternative, since said no, said we really like it where we really need it for safety and use of the personnel. So there's still communications ongoing with that. And that refrigerator we discussed previously has been moved to the gym. We found a perfect place for it in what's going to be eventually the gym area. Administration, improved reconciliation process implemented for small purchases. We discussed that. Rita supervised the new payroll onboarding. I believe that's up to the part where we need it. And finance group had a meeting on 8/4/25. Operations, all ground ladders, fire hose and pumps received their annual testing. There was a couple issues, mainly with the fire hose. A lot of it was dated out, meaning even if it passed the test, per NFPA recommendations, it can't be utilized for emergency situations anymore. So some of that was disposed of, some of it was retained for training and general purposes around the firehouse. but it put a big dent into our inventory. We'll have to, we're at a good place, talking with the chief, that we can address that in next year's budget to replace those items. Pumps, when I say pump testing, that's the physical pump on the pumpers, the engines. One passed with flying colors, the other had a couple issues, and that list has been forwarded to the mechanic in Lumberton who we use via shared services to address those issues. And we had one ground ladder fail, not blatantly fail, just so everyone's aware, when they test a ground ladder, they literally put it on two kind of like sawhorses, and they extend it, and they literally put a 500-pound weight on it, and that's how they test the ladders. None of them failed that test, but one was recommended taken out of service due to a deformity in the main rail of the ladder. It's a very expensive ladder, of course, and the turnaround time to receive said ladder is at least a year with the supply chain. So it's still on the truck. It's to be utilized for emergency purposes only. All staff, operational staff, have been made aware of that, and it's tagged as such. 2 new SUVs were delivered, registered and added to the insurance. The new PPV, positive pressure fans, for those curious what that means, positive pressure fans have received and are in service. The volunteer staff is very happy with those. They're the best and lightest model available, which makes their jobs much easier. Also, the thermal imaging cameras were received and in service. It's a crucial piece of equipment for our firefighters used on a daily basis that we were lacking as the old equipment was unserviceable. Personnel, the fire inspectors were onboarded by the fire marshal. All staff and line officer evaluations were completed in the month of August. Training, there was a firefighter CPR course conducted here at the firehouse, along with 3 mutual aid departments. And numerous members have now registered for additional training fall semester at the ESTC, which is the Burlington County Fire Academy located in West Hampton. Recruitment and retention, we have 3 new member applications received on the agenda tonight. Miscellaneous, the engine attended a birthday party for our Wednesday's child that we sponsored previously up here at the Children's Home. I think it's technically Legacy now. He was very excited. He turned 18 to see the engine show up there on that afternoon in the middle of the day for his birthday. It made his day. PD held a crossing guard training session here, and the engine just attended the backpack giveaway with the police this past weekend. And obviously we have one item on my list to discuss in executive session.
Thank you.
Are the ground ladders, hose and pumps something we could add to the capital add to, what we would use capital for in 2026?
We can discuss that next time with the budget.
Okay.
For records, we don't need any pumps. It's, we need a new fire hose and at least one ladder, and talking cheap, we're actually gonna purchase some additional things, and it's 2026.
Okay. Also, thank you for getting the infrared cameras and putting them on the list and getting them. I hear it's very important.
Okay. Moving on to the chief's report.
The total fire calls for the month of August was 71. There was general calls were 2. The total out-of-town general calls were 3. Total EMS calls was 2. We did 31 fire alarms, and we did 30 miscellaneous calls between car fires, brush fires, things like that. Total man hours for August was unavailable due to some changes in the active 911 system. So we're in the process of figuring out how we can get that out of the other system. There was 120 duty crew man hours and 20 drill hours for the month. The members had 3 special assignments. They attended 1 jazz festival in Willingboro, and there was 2 flooding assignments. The new equipment has been arriving and put into service, as the director said. The duty crew program's been doing pretty good. They've answered the calls. They've been getting stuff done around the firehouse. So that's been a big help. And the operations staff will be meeting this month to discuss the last quarter of the year and the plans going forward for that quarter. Fire officials report for the month of August 2025. Total inspections for the month was 22. There was 2 life hazard uses inspections and 11 local inspections. There were 7 total re-inspections and 10 resales for the month. There was 2 fire permits issued for the month and 2 fire investigations completed. Total certificate of inspections was 19, total notice of violations was 7, and there was 7 requests for time extensions. Our 2 new inspectors started their training on September 2nd. They were in yesterday and today, and they'll be out on the street from this point on, and hopefully things will be going a little bit more smoother. We're getting a little bit more busier with registrations and new businesses coming in, so I look forward to working with them.
Chief, I'm so excited to hear that things are going well, overall. Maybe you could tell us a little bit more about how the duty crew program has been going. So you're saying that they're answering the calls during duty crew hours, so like that's meeting our expectation, right?
Correct, so the duty crew is in-house on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. They are here 8 to 4. There's 2 overnight duty crews, that is Tuesday and Thursdays. They are here from 6 at night till 6 in the morning. So on average, it's been about 4 personnel per shift. Some shifts have been a little heavy during the day. There's been 5 or 6. So as the calls come in, they're able to respond, and then when they're at the building, they're actually getting tasks done around the building that needs to get done.
Is that impacting the amount of reciprocity, the amount of input we've needed from those we have shared service agreements with?
A little bit. It takes some of the call volume down from our normal responses. We still have our automatic agents required, but for normal responses, it has taken that down a little bit for the requirements.
Do we do the same in kind? So like if they would need us to be there, is that something that our crew would then go to?
Correct,
Okay.
but we haven't been able to because of our staffing. But there is a difference. You have automatic aid and then you have mutual aid. Automatic is set up that when there's a certain call, depending on that call, it's automatically dispatched. It's not something that we ask for, it's automatic.
Okay.
The stuff that we have in play during the day, that's like aid given. So that's something that we requested. It's a special aid. It's not automatic. It's because we put that in a CAD system that between these hours, we're to get this, apparatus or this amount of stuff.
Wonderful. I can see from some of our resolutions to bring new firefighters in, and it is generating interest in our district and bringing new people to our community. Are you finding with the people that are taking part in the duty crew that they're also extending themselves as volunteer firefighters outside of those duty crew hours?
Some have, not very many.
Okay.
Some are here during the duty crew, and that's kind of what their expectations were. We encourage them to come back after hours if they can, but our main volunteers that we have are still doing their volunteer time.
And as a large portion of our volunteer firefighters able to participate in this duty crew program?
Anybody that's a volunteer can, depending on their availability.
Okay,
If they're
excellent.
available, they can put in for a shift. The availability goes out on the 15th of the month. The email gets sent out, you send it back, and it gets scheduled.
I'm very excited to hear it's going so well, and I look forward to what you guys bring to it in the future. Thank you.
Mr. Loeb, I just want to point out to ask a question about reciprocation, if you will, with mutual aid. There is, obviously, we have a shared service with West Hampton.
Yes.
Is it Monday through Friday, Chief? 6 a.m. 6 a to 6 p, part of that agreement. They're coming in automatically, no matter what the call is. Even if it's a cat in a tree. Any call we get, they come in automatically, and obviously that was not a mutual aid for quite some time where we weren't living up to our end of the bargain, if you will. Other towns were coming in, they just said, hey, we're providing a significant amount of aid one way.
Right.
That's where that shared service stemmed from. With that being said, with the implementation of the duty crew, it's an annual agreement, and I foresee that the cost of that hopefully coming down because we're relying on them less.
No, like I said, to reiterate, I'm excited about what this brings to us. I just didn't know if we were, and I'm hoping we're anticipating reaching a point where we can be more equal partners, or at least be offering the help now that we have more of it, to say, hey, thank you for having our back, we want to do the same, which I know was absolutely the intention of everyone involved in the program. So I just wanted to see where we were at with that. Thank you very much for the feedback.
I'm sure the chief will back up on this. It's raise the level of morale, improve the morale here, even for our volunteers, that there's more consistency. We're getting more training done for the younger members, if you will, that need to get trained on driving the engine and stuff. It's more opportunities to train, more opportunities to go on calls and gain more experience. So it's high tides raising elbows.
Excellent.
Chief apparatus, officer reports, all apparatus are good. Obviously, I listed the pump test issue for the reserve engine, 5012, that'll be going to Lumberton at some point to be, go over that checklist. So that's all from the chief apparatus officer, safety officer, it's in your packets. He's done a good job. Actually, I'm quite impressed. He painstakingly painted. Don't quit your day job, Tim, you're not a great painter, but he got the job done.
It's bright yellow, isn't it?
May have got some on the grass. No, but he did a really good job with marking out the change in elevations for the, for example, right outside here, there's now yellow trim on the concrete pad. So he's done a great job with that. Coordinated the CPR training with Wolf Schmidt, and that fit test machine that we greatly needed is now up and running and ready to perform the fit test.
Can you speak to the second and third bullet points on that and explain to me a little bit the difference between rental and structural? Like, is there a difference? Are those two items separated for a reason?
It's basically the same thing. So we had guys fit, the new people fit, like, almost like a suit.
Okay.
So the vendor provides loaner gear, which is a great service. To be honest, we kind of lucked out that the company that we use, it's just like buying a car. There's different, you want the Ford, the Buick, whatever. So there's, four main manufacturers of turnout gear. We're lucky that at least the vendor that we use for Globe provides the rental service. So it's, they're providing, it's mismatch. Our new firefighters have been showing up with a black coat, a gray pants, and a tan coat, and they, we make fun of them.
But all of them are protected from fire,
They're
right?
protected properly for the fire. The most
Excellent.
important thing with having such an influx of people, we have to understand we went from, I would say legitimately 8 active, when I say active, respond all the time firefighters, to now we have 15 onboarded all at one time. We didn't have gear for that. So having the loaner gear provided by the vendor is a great help until all that gear arrives. So the next bullet point is, as it's arriving, he will then sign it out to them and make sure everything fits and do a proper safety check. And then the members are responsible for checking their own PPE on a regular basis. And then that's one thing our safety officer does above and beyond. He goes around individually and follows up on people and checks to see if their gear is in compliance and properly cleaned, and if there's any maintenance issues for it.
Wonderful. Thank you.
All right, you already went over building and grounds, personnel, apparatus. Anything for planning and services? I'm gonna go probably more. Budget and finance? Rita, do you have anything?
Not really. We have implemented the payroll, and the first paycheck's coming through Prime Point. Sorry, I say it. Yeah. Prime Point will be coming mid-September, so the next paychecks that come through will be coming through them.
Okay. Thank you very much. Write it down.
Madam Chair, I have one thing just before we get into whole business is I notified the board, I just wanted to put it out to the public that I was notified by Mr. Regan Young, the architect for the facility, that next meeting he'll be attending and presenting us with a plaque for the station style design award that his firm and technically this building, the design was awarded 2024, I believe, at the end of the year is when they do them. It's Firehouse Magazine, which is basically the Bible for the fire service for the last 40, 50 years. Monthly publication, they do an annual station style design where they award like the best renovation, the most green building, the most innovative, several awards. They received an honorable mention in one of the categories. Don't remember which one off the top of my head, but we will be here next meeting to present that plaque to the board.
When was that published? or has it been yet published?
Yeah, no, it was published in 2024,
Okay.
and it showed a picture of the station
we
before,
have a copy
before
of
and
it,
after. I'm sure we have one somewhere. If not, I'll call the magazine and try to get one so we can frame a copy of that picture along with the
That'd
plaque.
be great.
So,
All right, old business. These are resolutions that are requiring our second reading, to be voted on tonight. Resolution 2025-36, that's the resolution setting the salaries of Fire Prevention Bureau employees. Can I have a motion?
A second.
And just before we have a vote on that one, I think it makes sense, 36 and 37 are essentially the same resolution. They're both salary resolutions regarding salaries for various positions within the district. We separate them as two separate resolutions because Ms. Gaskell does have a conflict with regard to the fire official salary.
fire inspector.
Or I'm sorry, the fire inspector. Again, these are taken, they're the same. We do need to have a public comment period. So what I would suggest is introduce them both, have one public comment period on both resolutions. Again, this public comment period would be limited solely to these two resolutions, and then there can be two separate votes on them afterwards.
Okay.
That would be what I would suggest as a procedure.
Do we need a motion to proceed that way?
No.
Yeah, I think we can just introduce them both, again, so then I think we need a motion to introduce the second one. We'll open it for one public comment period for both, since they are largely similar, and then we'll vote them separately, correct?
All right, so I read the title for 36, I'll read the title for 37, which is 2025-37. That's a resolution setting the salaries of administrative employees.
I just have two little edits. On recommendation to council, under the certification part, it'll read, introduced on first reading. It's on both, it'll be the same verbiage, change on both.
Okay. so it says
Right under
2025.
certification, the first paragraph, it'll say introduced instead of adopted on first reading. There's a copy and paste from the the original resolution, and then that same sentence, it'll say second reading at a public hearing held on the 3rd of September instead of meeting. We're opening up to public for a hearing. So that's two edits advised by council for that. both of
I'm
those
sorry, where's the
resolutions.
second edit?
The
The first is in that sentence.
Where it says duly adopted.
Yeah, please, if you would, just for expediency. So here. Adopted, hearing. There's two words. Is there something, you said this was advice of the solicitor, is there a legal difference between a hearing and a meeting then that would inform your desire to make that linguistic change?
Just because we're opening it to the public for public comment.
So that, okay, great, thank you.
Just before we proceed, Ms. Gaskell was the motion on, the first motion on 2025-36, and Ms. Logue seconded. I think as a matter of procedure, we should probably have that motion introduced by somebody else, since she has to abstain from that motion. So we'll need to go back to 2025-36 for a motion in a second.
So I'll introduce a motion, or I motion to move to the floor 2025-36, as read by the chair.
Okay, and then I just need a second,
Second.
Thank you.
and that takes care of that one.
And I motion to bring to the table 2025-37.
I'll second that. And
And then we open for public comment, correct? With regard to only these two items.
That's correct.
Yes.
So we your chair.
Okay, look, we're getting there.
Hey, I'm just trying to be of your mind about business.
All right, anybody have any comments or questions on this resolution, on these two resolutions only? First row? Second row?
How do we know? Are we increasing jump over to 203 Broad Street, are we increasing salaries on different employees now? Thank you. Jeff Everett Meyer, 203 Broad Street. So are these salaries the same as last year? Are we increasing salaries on different people, or it's kind of, what's going on with these salaries?
This is the only increase, to my knowledge, is in the fire inspector position. Due to the competitive nature of the positions, we had to increase what we pay to be able to recruit and retain when we advertised the new inspector positions. So this is just clarifying what the salary ranges are. Both resolutions are doing the same thing as far as a range for salaries, but I believe it's only the fire inspector specifically that's getting increased, the fire prevention resolution.
Are the inspectors from Mount Holly itself, or are they from out of town, the new inspectors?
One fire inspector lives in Mount Holly, the other two do not live in town.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Riley?
I'll be back, but I have another question about the hiring. I was asking earlier today, and I got a little confused. I was given an answer that wasn't actually correct. So you guys are hiring fire inspectors, is that correct?
They've already been hired, we're not hiring anyone.
So who put out the listing for the fire inspector? Who put that out public?
It was publicly advertised on the website and social media.
And who, if I wanted to apply, who would I send my resume to?
I don't have the listing in front of me.
Okay, I think it was to you. So the question is to the commission, who approved of the 2 or 3 people that were hired? Did you guys take a vote on it?
It was introduced in last year's budget.
But those
It
people,
was introduced for the 2025 budget, so we had already budgeted for it.
who chose the 3 people?
The one's an existing employee. There's 2 new employees who were appointed at the last meeting by the board. They were selected by the fire official.
Whose idea was to give the raise to all these the deserving people? I'm talking about it, I'm glad you guys gave them a raise, but who?
It's nobody's idea, sir. They needed a raise to be able to.
The
recruit.
resolution's before the board has an opportunity to act on the resolution, they can approve it or deny it.
Who did the research on what the going rate was for an inspector? Nobody knows? All right, thanks.
Next. Anyone else? Seeing none, I'm closing the public portion for these 2 resolutions. All right, we already had a first and a second on 3-6. Can I have a roll call?
I would like some discussion on that from the board, if that's all right with you. I have some questions.
On 36?
Yeah, on 36. If I understood what just transpired correctly, and this would be news to me, we have 2 new fire inspectors that we're delighted to welcome aboard, and I'm excited to see the work they're gonna do with us. Am I understanding they were hired outside of our existing salary range for that role?
No, they were not. They were the same rate as the existing inspector who's been here for 20 years. The adjustment was made so there's the ability to give them an increase as we see fit.
Why are we doing this now instead of adding it into the 2026 budget discussion?
Because they're employees right now, and if you want to recruit and retain employees, you have to have at least a range, the ability to advance and for growth.
But it couldn't wait till November?
I present items to the board, you choose to approve them or not.
The board can approve or this is before the board, it's your decision.
Okay.
All I want is
They're
clarity.
making, all employees are making that bottom number, which was already the number.
But, I'm sorry, please, I just want to be clear, so that I have clear understanding. That is, the number that is on the low end of this scale is currently what our range sits at, and our newest inspectors were hired at that top of the range. Is that my
The
understanding?
bottom,
Okay,
they're hired at the bottom.
so,
Correct.
I'm sorry, well, the bottom number here would be the top of our current range, correct?
There is no range, that's the thing, we lacked a resolution, it's just, correct me if I'm wrong, Rita, she's the institutional knowledge person with she's been here longer than anybody, that That's why we did it, to clarify, because there was no range. It was a number, 2 directors ago probably hired somebody at, and they were sitting there at that number, and anytime there was an increase needed or requested, there was no ability to do so. So now, just like the municipality, we mirror that, where there's a salary ordinance that gives a range. So now we have a range, we have the ability.
So this would be the initial creating of a range, because the way that I read the resolution itself, in the language it says, whereas in order to do so, it is necessary for the Mount Holly Fire District to review its salary ranges from time to time. So we're not reviewing an existing salary range from time to time, we're creating one initially from what we're aware of existing, is that?
I'll defer to council on that question, you wrote the resolution.
Yeah, if council would, or if the board would prefer that that language be amended to change it, to establish a salary range, we can certainly do that.
Those are all my questions, thank you very much for entertaining them.
Okay, again, we already had a first.
There may have been a resolution, or at some point, we just don't have access to it right now, and again, that's one of the issues that we're trying to clean up here.
All right, can I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Lowe?
No.
Commissioner Shepherd?
No.
Commissioner Gaskell?
Yes.
I'm sorry, you have to abstain, Ms. Gaskell.
And Chairwoman Salcier?
Yes.
Motion does not carry.
So now if the motion does not carry, does that mean they don't get paid?
There's no change to the present salary range, or salary, I guess, depending on where it is.
Just clarifying. Okay. On to the next. I already had a motion and a second on 2025-37. Can I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Lowe?
No.
Commissioner Shepherd?
No.
Commissioner Gaskell?
Yes.
Chairwoman Salcier?
Yes.
Again, 2-2, the motion does not carry.
Solicitor, I have a quick question. After the 2026 budget is discussed and a work meeting is conducted for the 2026 budget, can resolutions of similar nature be reintroduced and voted on again?
They could be reintroduced at the next meeting date, certainly.
Okay, great, thank you.
And we, in the interim, we could potentially locate an existing resolution that established prior ranges, correct?
We have done our best to find and cannot.
Okay.
All right, moving on to new business. Resolution 2025-42, which is a resolution on appointing new volunteer firefighters. Yay. Can I have a motion? Can I make a motion?
I second.
Can I have a roll call?
Commissioner Lowe?
Yes.
Commissioner Shepherd?
Yes.
Commissioner Gaskell?
Yes.
Chairwoman Salcier?
Yes. And 2025-43 is tabled.
That's correct, that was at my, my request. That was a resolution regarding, final payment for this building.
Understood.
There were some,
Discrepancies.
there were some issues regarding ongoing issues that we have, and the possibility of a holdback, and I want to review the contract, to ensure that the holdback is appropriate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving right on to 2025-44. Resolution ratifying the shared service agreement with Mount Holly Township previously authorized by resolution on January 10th, 2024.
I have some questions about the language that titles this. This says that it ratifies an agreement that was previously authorized, but this language is different. It includes different things than the resolutions that were passed in January of '24. Also, referring back to the minutes from January of '24, there were several other pieces, I believe, several other resolutions that informed the resolution that was passed by town council as a shared service agreement. And the language that we intend to pass tonight, or we're attempting to pass tonight, differs quite a bit from what the township passed as a shared service agreement in January of '24. So I'm wondering if we might want to have some discussion about this based on that alone.
The title on there is just for a reference of when it was previously passed. That's all for the public's consumption, that's all. The January 10th date, that's just for a reference point. The agreement's up to you guys. It's on the
Right.
agenda, it's a resolution. You were given a copy of the shared service agreement, so it's always up to discussion, whatever the board's pleasure is.
So when you forwarded this to us, you forwarded two resolutions that the Fire Commission Board passed in January of 2024. At that same meeting, there were several others. There was the sharing of grant writing services, and one other, I believe, that applied would have been the Safer Grant Program. And those are listed as items of import in the shared service agreement that the township passed with the district. Neither of those things are in the shared service agreement you've presented to us this evening. And so I just don't know if it was just a misspeak in saying that we are ratifying it previously authorized, and I don't know if this applies, and Solicitor can maybe speak to this. In the meeting minutes for the township, I didn't see any reapproval of this shared service in January of this year. Also, we did not reapprove any shared service agreement in January of this year. So would this be the ratification of a brand new shared services agreement that while it may be informed by previous resolutions of this board, it is not the exact same language that was presented?
So, Ms. Logan, if you look at the title of the actual resolution, 2025-44, not the one that's on your agenda, that resolution title is Resolution by the Board of Mount Holly, Board of Fire Commissioners of the Mount Holly Fire District Number 1, ratifying a shared service agreement with the Township of Mount Holly. I believe the notice on your agenda with the previously authorized by resolution in January 10th, 2024 is just a notification to the board and the public that there was a prior shared service authorized in January of 2024. My understanding is the shared service agreement is what is before you in 2025-44.
Okay, well, I mean, I think that's what I would actually like to speak to. So,
This is
can I please finish my thought?
Let me just, real quick.
Okay.
This is, yes, you're right, this is a new agreement.
Okay.
The board expressed a need for, remember, we found resolutions, but not an actual agreement. The board expressed that we wanted a agreement,
Right.
so I moved forward with that, and that's what this is. And it's specifically addressing the day-to-day building stuff. It didn't include the grant writing stuff, because honestly, we don't need their services.
Can I finish my thought, please? Okay.
Clarify.
I would, and I appreciate that, because I have questions about what's actually in the agreement being presented tonight, but I want this part to be clear. That the part that we're giving to the public, because we're not giving them the resolutions with the language in it or a copy of the shared service agreement, this agenda item suggests to the public that we are merely reaffirming something that we already had. We're not doing that. And the things that we were getting, from what I can see, the things that we were getting as a benefit in our previous agreements no longer exist because, as you mentioned, we no longer need a grant writer because with the addition of you to our team, we've accomplished that. So I wanted that part to be clear because I didn't understand why we would be suggesting that the board had already done this business. And when I asked for that last meeting, when you said we couldn't find things, fine, but that's because it didn't exist. We couldn't find it because it didn't exist. There are resolutions sharing individual services that are very specific. And when you gave us the two resolutions from that January meeting that I assume informed the creation of this new shared service agreement, you only gave us two out of a list that can be determined from the meeting minutes from January of that year, because I couldn't find those resolutions on our website either. So I have 2 of them, but I'd love to see the others to see what other specific things were agreed upon in January of '24 that may still continue to be or cease to be of benefit to the fire district in the shared services. That was my point.
And as you pointed out, we don't have an agreement. There was just resolutions shot back and forth, if you will. So we don't have an agreement. So all those things listed, there's no teeth to it, there's no actual agreement. That's what we have now, if the board so chooses, is an agreement to outline those things.
To that point, Mr. Carty, are you aware of the fact that when I was elected and took my position, I was assured multiple times by members of this board and our solicitor that we did in fact have a shared service agreement and have been operating under the opinion that we did? And when I asked for amendments to that shared service agreement, I was told those amendments couldn't be made. Well, the reality is the amendments couldn't be made because the shared services didn't exist. So, I mean, I would appreciate maybe a bigger conversation about what it is we're asking for here, based solely on the things that I have asked to have added to this over the course of my tenure that I believe would benefit both the district and the taxpayers.
I can't speak to anything before March. I wasn't
Correct.
here, so I don't know what you asked for. I know the board specifically really concerned about office space to me and the daily operations, so that's what I addressed in that shared service agreement. So that's what's before you. Again, it's
Well, I mean,
the board's prerogative.
And I agree, but you were part of the conversation, or at least the tail end of the conversation, when the board decided to get a cleaning service. Commissioner Shepard and I, who were on the Buildings and Grounds Committee, had looked at 2 individual companies to appoint to that position because we needed cleaning services on the first floor because we were holding so many public meetings as well as hosting both township and shared employees on the first floor, and the cleanliness was not meeting muster. So we didn't want to put that burden on the duty crew to maintain those spaces that were being used for our administrative purposes as well as our shared agreement with the township. So as a result, the district is now paying for a cleaning service to address those things, and your new shared service agreement doesn't address the township making any contribution to that at all, even though they will use this space more frequently than we do for our monthly meeting.
We have the cleaning service in place now, and I actually look forward to the day where we won't need them, because now that we have the duty crew system up and running, that will eventually become part of the responsibilities, because that's what firefighters do, they clean the firehouse.
Okay, so, I mean, again, it was impressed upon me when we had this conversation that it would be inappropriate to ask volunteer firefighters to keep clean an area that is being used for public meetings. That it would be beyond the scope and it would be demoralizing to some degree. And I can assure you that that is why I said, sure, okay, finally, let's get this. Even though at the time I asked, would the township be willing to make a contribution towards their services, and was rebuffed. So I can appreciate that we're in a different position now, but I would also like to see something that is beneficial to the district, and I don't know that I see those things in the current agreement as it's being offered. It just consistently says that it is valuable, that both the township and the district agree that it is valuable. In the original agreement that was put forward by the township that they ratified, I mean, they said, excuse me one moment. That whereas the representative of the township and the board have met to discuss shared service agreement which would permit the following. The township to utilize the firehouse meeting room commencing March the 1st, 2024. The board to utilize the township's grant writer. We now have your wonderful services, and I mean that with all sincerity. I look forward to everything that you're going to bring to the district. And C, the township's neighborhood services director to perform residential resale inspection for the issuance of certificates of occupancy. It is my understanding that that is no longer the case. Am I correct, Chief, when I say that the fire marshal and the inspectors now currently do those resale inspections?
As of the change of the current fire code in April 2024, there was a previous clause in the fire code that allowed municipalities to utilize their housing inspectors to complete that task. When the code change took effect, it now reads states that you must hold or be certified as a fire official and/or fire inspector to perform those services.
So we would no longer have benefit based on the agreement from, that is my opinion, I'm not asking you to have one.
Not unless those individuals from the township were certified fire inspectors, you couldn't use them.
Okay, thank you. So the three things that are illustrated in the council's shared service agreement, I mean, literally, the only thing in that is that they get to use this room, that benefits them. And then when we move into what's being presented to us tonight, I fail to see anything more than, because when we talk about housing their employees here, they're not doing those services for us anymore, and now there are more of them. And we have, you know, we have a wonderful building where I look forward to all of us working together, but I feel like there should be some mutual benefit to that should equalize the tax burden between the fire tax and the township tax. I mean, I'll leave it there, like that's, I don't see enough of that in this current iteration of the shared service agreement. In fact, if you could illustrate for me based on, I mean, I'm assuming you were our representative for this current shared service agreement?
Yes.
Okay, could you please elucidate for me what value it brings to the district?
Our value is there's employees here Monday through Thursday to answer the phone, answer the door, process payments, schedule fire inspections, schedule the smoke resales as we call them, or smoke certs as we call them, because that's what they do actually for us. There's 2 employees in that office that perform tests for the fire district on a daily basis. So that there is a benefit.
But we pay them.
We can,
Please, if you don't mind, I would like to hear the answer in full.
yeah, we give them a very small stipend. One gets $2,000 a year and one gets $5,000 a year. That's not very much money for the amount of work. That's a win. That's a net win for us. They're here, they have keys when contractors come in, deliveries. We've had, you know, a significant amount of very important equipment just recently delivered. There's somebody here to take it in and secure it in their office. They're here, they're reporting things, the parking lot is secure. There's a multitude of things, as opposed to, because this is, again, minus the duty crew that just started, and they're only here 3 days a week. We don't have a presence here. And to your point of cleaning bathrooms, there's a big difference between asking a volunteer firefighter to clean that bathroom down there as opposed to someone on a duty crew receiving a small monetary stipend. That's just an accepted practice of pride and ownership. Your own crew, you're being incentivized to be there and you clean your house. So there is a difference between what you stated previous of putting upon volunteers, like I showed up to go to a fire and, hey, by the way, clean the bathroom while you're here.
Sure.
That's the difference, as opposed to someone participating in a duty crew. As far as a monetary incentive, township benefit, not, you know, pros and cons, we're all entitled to our opinions. This is the Mount Holly taxpayers' building. I don't care if it's the fire tax or the municipal tax, it's still their tax dollars and they pay for this building. So if there's an inherent benefit, which I personally feel there is, of having the township code enforcement office here, then like I said, I think it's a benefit.
Well,
There's more pros than cons.
Isn't it illegal to use fire tax money for township tax? Isn't it allotted only for fire tax?
How are we using fire tax for Mount Holly?
They-
We have,
Would you be so
it
kind
clearly
as to let me
states in the
finish?
resolution, shared service agreement under state
Sorry,
law.
Please, I understand and appreciate what you're saying. So the people that we house now, that's the construction office, right? Like
No,
they
it's not
work in
construction.
conjunction with the construction
No,
office?
It's
No.
code enforcement, so they have the code enforcement officer here, they have the housing inspector, I think that's Mr. Eckert's official title, don't quote me on that, I don't know their exact civil service titles, but I know the functions they perform, and it's a housing guy and a code enforcement guy, and then there's 2 separate, administrative staff, if you will, that have, they're independent, same functions, and those specifically, the administrative ones are the ones assisting us and take cash when somebody comes in and pay their fire permit and secures it upstairs in the office and things of that nature. And,
Okay.
And lets
And-
contractors into the building.
Right, and those two, is that, the position is called desk clerk, is that correct? That's what we had it as the previous
Yes,
resolution, so
whatever-
I want to refer to them as.
Whatever that's listed is
Right.
mimic their
So
civil
having a
service
desk
title.
clerk is fine, those people have been present since the inception of this agreement, correct? But I don't know if you're aware that the township construction office operates largely by Dropbox and emails. If you need something, you email. If it is largely a not in-person thing. And I don't really see a reason why the fire marshal's office couldn't operate in largely the same way. In addition, it is my understanding that the township employees that we will be housing as a result of this shared service agreement will be occupying this front office here, which, if my understanding is correct, when this building was built on the blueprint, and maybe our visitor next month can speak to that, having been part of the building, that was designated as the fire marshal's office. So I really don't understand why we'd be moving the fire marshal's office away from where the fire marshal needs to be, to house, with the exception of the fact that the desk clerks are there. However, if we were to maybe institute a Dropbox, we would be able to eliminate that need altogether, and our new inspectors, as well as the existing inspector, would have a space where they could be in the fire marshal's office, and when they're here for a portion of each of their 20-ish hours a week, we could potentially set minimal window hours where the public could be served by appointment, even if necessary, right? And you mentioned not having a presence in the building. I'm excited about your duty crew, and as we move forward, I'm hoping that will grow, and perhaps we'll obtain some grants to even expand it, which we're moving towards having more of a presence in this building. I know one of the concerns of both the public and the firefighters was being able to be present in this building. They were kept out for quite some time. But now that all of them are in possession of keys, and we're starting to get this duty crew program going, and we're excited about the idea of bringing the younger members of the fire family into that we could welcome our lifetime members to come and spend more time here, even on a voluntary basis, even if someone who is not serving in the capacity of fighting a fire, hey, would you mind coming and hanging out in the fire marshal's window for 2 hours? Or we could, maybe incentivize them to do something like that to bring back the family feeling that I'm told is being lost from our having built this beautiful new building that now feels more like a municipal complex than it does the firehouse that I'm told everyone loved so much. So you see where I look, you try and make it as if, my incentive here is monetary. Well, yes, the taxpayers of both the township and the district have expended millions of dollars on this beautiful building. And its upkeep and maintenance should not be the sole responsibility of the fire district. That burden should be shared, just as when we're asked to raise taxes to fix, house, and maintain these things, which we will inevitably have to do, and there are township employees in the building, they'll be shifting that tax burden to us, and it'll look as if everything is hunky-dory. And I don't know if the expenditure of that money would be taking away from the ability to expand on the apparatus and the equipment and all of the exciting ideas that you're bringing to the table. So, I think those are my concerns with the way that this is currently written.
Okay, so first I'll say, I would defer to the members about morale, about the feeling of the firehouse, and if they feel welcome here. If you want to ask the approximate 8 truly active volunteers, feel free to do so, but I have not
That's
heard
not
anything.
who I was referring to. I was referring to the members of the public who were here at meetings prior to my election, screaming at this board because they were not being allowed to access. That's who I meant. And they've all been provided keys since then, correct?
If you're referring to what we consider life members, yes, anyone that's asked for a key has been given a key.
Okay.
Now, is that?
So is that those people 8 in total?
No, I'm talking about active people that get on fire trucks and respond to emergencies.
Correct.
Correct.
And I'm asking about the life fire members, then how many of those keys are there?
Truly. We have probably a dozen.
Okay, cool.
I know the fire company still meets here, as should be their right upstairs in their historic room. As far as the architect answering the question, that's not needed. I can tell you, yeah, that on the original plans, that was marked fire marshal, fire prevention office. It no longer is. Just like the office that's currently used for administrative was marked as the director, solely as the director's office. That's no longer the director's office, that huge office. So things change when things are planned out. On paper, it may look good. The operational needs changed. And I'm sure the fire official will tell you that they can operate just fine out of that second floor office as they can in the first floor. As far as a Dropbox system mentality. I disagree with that. I think we should be speaking to the public and engaging them, and when they have questions, because emails and drop boxes are faceless tools, and we've accomplished a lot just in the 6 months I've been here with members of the public coming in having questions, and it may be a code question, it may be a fire question, and we work well together. The inspectors work well together with the code enforcement personnel. And this is, again, my stance is, this is a public building. It doesn't matter if it was fire tax, municipal tax, it's a public building, the public has right to access, and the more recreation, crossing guard training, things of that nature, police training that comes through here, the better. It's a benefit to the community by those functions.
And it is a financial burden being shouldered by the district.
How so? We have to have the HVAC, the electric on, heat on, no
So
matter
these
what.
lights are on timers, are they not? If no one's in this room, these lights go off,
They
don't
go
they?
off, correct. So
Right,
it's a good.
same thing ring true for all the offices in here?
Absolutely.
Okay,
They
so
go
over
off.
time, there is an expenditure. There is a cost to having people in a building. There is a cost to their activity being in a building. Now, that may be nominal cost at first, and it may not be a nominal cost. What I'm saying is that there is, I need you to tell me, as they are gaining a place to put employees, that they will no longer have to pay rent or furnish a new building or any of that. The furniture, the computers, all of that is being paid for at the expense of the district. Is that correct?
No, that's not correct.
Okay, so who pays for that?
So the township just ordered a new desk to match our desks for upstairs, for a desk that they're keeping down there. It's just easier to build a new one up there than move a desk.
Okay,
So when things come up, I'll give you a perfect example. When I run out of copy paper upstairs, I go downstairs and I ask code enforcement for a ream of paper. So there's things as simple as that. You know, I can't find a highlighter. You know, I know it's maybe nominal, but it's a good working environment. Friday, when the township was off, a lady knocked on the door. I went down and answered the door. It was a pure code enforcement issue, but I was able to help her with her issue and actually called the code enforcement, even though his day off. Mr. Spittler's very good at answering the phone and said, you know, the lady's here to follow up on that. And he said, tell her I'll be out there on Tuesday. So it's as simple as having a presence here, and it works both ways.
oh no, and I don't disagree with that. Again, I think that perhaps either something's getting lost in translation or there's being or attempting to mischaracterize my concerns here. If the township needed space, because I believe that ours says that they don't have adequate space for these employees right now, if I'm not remembering incorrectly, give me a moment, would you?
You're referring to the resolution or the shared service agreement
I'm
itself?
trying to recollect, if you give me one moment, I'd be delighted to find the exact language.
There's actually agreement up on my computer if you need it.
I printed everything out so that I'd have it easy access, I'm sorry. Not seeming to locate it, if I recollect correctly, it's something to the idea of it doesn't currently have the space. And I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah, there was something about whereas the township has a need for space or something to that effect, I believe.
Okay, so if that rings true and the township doesn't currently have the space, if they were to rent space, would they be paying rent, to your knowledge? Somewhere?
I'm not in a position to speculate.
Okay, so I mean,
Fees or doesn't
a
pay.
reasonable person as a taxpayer, I would assume, well, if I didn't have somewhere to go, I would have to obtain space. So I can understand that there's a convenience here, and there's also a mutual benefit of these particular employees being closely situated. I don't know that I feel like that's enough of a benefit to the district to move forward with the agreement as it currently sits. And I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for entertaining my thoughts on the matter. Having just seen this week, I can appreciate you taking the time to answer my questions.
And just for a matter of point too, that the Township Public Works cuts our grass now, and does all our exterior maintenance as needed. They've helped putting signs, moving signs. There's was to paint this one spot out here.
Is there a reason why that's not outlined in the shared service agreement in paper?
They just do it for us.
No, I get it, but it would be better to have it enshrined in our shared service agreement so that if and when there was a dispute over who would be responsible for it, we could point back to that shared service agreement as a matter of course. Would it not, Solicitor?
If that's the board's pleasure, we can add that to the,
Well, anything we expect to have the ability to enforce, it's in our benefit to have it enshrined in the shared service agreement, is it not?
if the township agrees to that, again, this has to be an agreement, they have to agree to it, but if that's our request and they agree to it, then certainly having it written as part of an agreement is better than just doing it, from an enforceable provision moving forward.
Okay, so I guess I just have one follow-up. Director, did you ask for input from any member of the board about the services that would be beneficial to share? Because like you said, I mean, you weren't party to the conversations about the cleaning and whatnot and the shared services previously. I didn't get any request for input on what might be beneficial in a shared service agreement, and I just wondered, did any of my colleagues?
The existing shared service agreement with the MUA was used as a template. It was sent to conflict counsel. This is the product they gave us.
What is conflict counsel and why would that have been necessary?
Because he cannot,
Our firm represents the township, so I'm not able to opine, and we weren't able to for the township as well.
Is there a reason why the conflict solicitor didn't join us this evening then, if he prepared this agreement?
because it's only agreement, I don't think it's needed to charge, to pay $150 or whatever they charge an hour to sit here at a meeting for.
So you determined it wasn't necessary? Would it be serving the board well, solicitor, to have the solicitor who drew this agreement here before us?
No, typically not. If there are changes requested, then he or she can certainly make those, but normally there wouldn't be both counsel present at a particular meeting.
I know that I had received an email that you thought that might be necessary, Director, but I never received an email that we were going to do that. And that was not the reason that I understood the conflict. The reason it was explained in the conflict to me was that there were members of this board who might find it problematic. Not that our township, not that our district solicitor had a conflict and could not write this. So why was that? Why is that?
It's very clear that our counsel could not write that agreement.
To whom?
He's the attorney, his firm's the attorney for the township's firm.
So then can you please extrapolate how it is you're our attorney at all? When we have so many mutually beneficial things occurring.
And on any issues that involve the township, I recuse myself, and that was made clear during the appointment process. I can't, and the township attorney, my partner who represents the township, we don't opine on issues for the township involving the district. That's the, it would be inappropriate.
Oh, I thought if there was a conflict and we said, okay, we waive it, work together and figure this out, it'd be okay.
Public entities can't waive conflicts.
So the email that was sent to me that suggested the necessity of a conflict attorney because of the behavior of members of this board was not an accurate reason for needing a conflict attorney. Is that correct, Director?
I'm not sure which communication you're referring to.
I would be happy to pull it up if you'd like me to. Would you like a moment to check your email so that you can be sure? I'll happily wait.
It seems to me we're beyond the.
I would really appreciate an
beyond-
answer to this.
We're beyond the merits of the shared service agreement. Certainly if, I think you've made your position clear that you don't believe that the shared service agreement has enough benefit for the district.
You're correct. I concede. My apologies. I'll leave it there.
Now I have questions. I didn't want to interrupt Rosemary.
Thank you.
Article B of the access agreement, physical access keys. It says that there is a representative and then there'd be several keys that the township would be able to use. But I want to make sure that we keep a running list of these key holders and that they should sign the same key agreement that the other key holders have signed when we started determining building access. It was very important that we knew who was in the building and we were tracking it, and we wanted to make sure that everyone in the building had access and understood their role as having that privilege to be in this building, and new duty crew members, any kind of shared service agreement, and the township needs to, follow the same rules as our fire department, and I find that really important, and I think it should be added. Article 2A, I would like to know what, the code office vehicles that we would be sharing with them. And do they have their own vehicles that we would also be able to use because they would be using ours?
So basically, yeah, that's, if they need a vehicle and we have one there, they need to use it, and vice versa. For example, they've used, code enforcement. He also not only, by the way, it's another benefit, Mr. Spittler painstakingly took at least 2 trips to the DMV to get our new vehicles registered for us. There was an issue at DMV with, wanting to charge us more than they should have charged us, and some other issues, but him as a retired police officer has navigated that before. So yeah, they use ours, and there's been instances where George's vehicle broke down, George being the fire inspector. When that actually broke down, he was using the township vehicle, the silver bullet, as we refer to it out there, that piece of junk.
Oh, well, so if it's a piece of junk, we just bought 2 vehicles for our inspectors. We have 3 inspectors now, which is great. They should always have access to a vehicle of the same abilities, the same condition that we have just bought with the fire district's money. It is important that if the township will be sharing vehicles with us, that they have the same sort of reciprocal vehicles, and we're not, jumping into a vehicle that may not be adequate for us to be driving around in as fire inspectors for the fire services department. It's really important as the fire services that we have the ability to get around, and like you just said, a pile of junk in the parking lot is what we would be sharing with them. I don't really think that is appropriate. In Article F, it says, and future benefits. That is very vague without actually saying any benefits at all. Should this future benefit list be completed prior to the shared service agreement? It would be really great to see a real list of, not just monetary, but how we benefit outside of just the office being popular, or populated. That would help us understand this shared service agreement, how we're both benefiting outside of just that office being occupied. Because now that we have 3 inspectors, chief, duty crew 2 days a week, 2 nights, all new fire guys, fire police, a director that should be here, part-time. That is a very large population of people that work for the fire services now, and I find that, that could possibly man that office as needed. So though I love the code enforcement being here, I do think that we should figure out a better way to also benefit from the shared services. Because I want to say, resolution review, what are the cost savings that would bring to the fire district? It would be great that, if we have a new system that sends information to the fire services directly, it would help remove some of the burden from the code administration that we keep talking about. If no fire services are in the front office, will they be doing the same volume of support, especially now that the code enforcer won't actually be doing fire services as well? Is the township storing vehicles in our small parking lot? The municipality has a wonderful municipal parking lot behind the municipal building. We have a very small parking lot, and we've been having a lot of events here. The more vehicles in our parking lot, the less there is for people when they come to the meetings. The municipal parking lot has plenty of space, always, and their vehicles, any extra vehicles from the municipality, like the Silver Bullet, should probably be parked there. Now, and then as we, Rosemary, just to reiterate, Rosemary was talking about how Exhibit B, Resolution 2024-34,
had a list of several things that aren't even included in the new or shared service agreement. And of course, you know, the grant writer no longer benefits us because Director Carty's extensive experience and execution of grants no longer makes us need the township's grant writer. And then again, the neighborhood services director is no longer needed for residential resale inspections. So those are all my notes. Just wanted to get it out there.
Okay, to the point of the use of vehicles, it's clearly stated in that agreement, vehicles, both organizations retain the priority use of their respective vehicles. So that our people get to use the vehicles first. It's only when we don't need them and they're available that they're using them. And for the record, the township only has 2 vehicles that stay here on a regular basis.
It'd be nice to actually have a policy that goes through that. How are we tracking these vehicles? Mileage, who's using them and when. I know, you know, that's not something we've done previously, but it might be something we want to talk about now that we have a larger fleet. I know that in most of the companies I work for, it is important that we track our vehicles and make sure that everyone is using them appropriately.
I just have one quick follow-up to jump off of Commissioner Shepherd's remarks. Have any key fobs been distributed as a result of this agreement yet to any designated party that did not hold one previously?
No new keys have been given out, because this is not executed. The keys have nothing to do with this agreement. This agreement is a draft. You guys, if you want to make edits to it, we can. Before we present it, if you so choose to pass it to the township, it's still on them to pass it on their end. As far as keys, anybody that's been given a key's been as needed, and it's the director's prerogative.
Have you issued any new keys, Director, as a
New keys
result of your prerogative?
as a result of this? No, but the township clerk has a key so they can access this building for meetings, as do the employees stationed here. The police chief, the on-duty police supervisor, and the emergency squad. That's top of my head, the new keys have been issued since I came on board that they didn't have a key.
Thank you very much.
Would we like to table, I would like to bring to the table tabling the shared service agreement and possibly having a work meeting about it to discuss what we can add to maybe make everyone feel like this was an equally beneficial access agreement.
Do you need to motion it on?
Oh.
So,
Right.
no,
Okay, I don't know how to do it, I'm sorry.
was there, I think there was a motion in the second, and that's how we got to the discussion, correct? I
My
think.
apologies.
I'm not clear. I'm not
No,
clear.
no, not
I
yet.
don't believe
Okay,
there
so,
was.
I'm sorry, normally there would be a motion second before we get into discussion. I guess we got to the discussion beforehand, which is fine. But yeah, so right now, the motion, there has not even been a motion to bring it forward.
I motion to bring forward.
I mean, there's been, Commissioner Shepherd now has motioned to table the resolution.
And that comes, that takes, yep, okay. Yep.
So there's a motion, we need a second on that motion.
I'll second that.
Can I have a roll call on the motion to table, which would be 44? No, this is.
Yeah, so, we're just, it's a motion to table resolution 44.
Can I have a roll call?
Commissioner Lowe?
Yes.
Commissioner Shepherd?
Yes.
Commissioner Gaskill?
No.
Chairwoman Tossier?
No.
Okay. So I guess we're motioning to bring it to the table then, is that correct?
If there's a motion in a second, yes.
Okay. I was asking a question if that's the next step. Okay.
Let's try this one more time. Resolution 2025-44. Can I have a first? Can I have a second? I'll second. Can I have a roll call?
Commissioner Lowe?
No.
Commissioner Shepherd?
No.
Commissioner Gaskill?
Yes.
Chairwoman Tossier?
Yes.
Motion does not carry.
Before we go on for new business, I would like to walk on a resolution to introduce a work meeting for finance matters and possible service agreement matters outside the regular monthly meeting.
That's bringing it to the table, right? And then I second it, yes.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know that your meetings are typically scheduled, your work meetings are, but
I was told they had to be agreed upon by the board.
are you talking about a committee meeting or an
Like a
actual
board
work,
meeting.
a work session of the board? Okay.
Yeah.
Understood.
So I'll second.
A motion and a second. That would be resolution 2025-45, a resolution to add I'm sorry, 46, correct, I'm sorry. 46 to add a work session, a meeting. I don't know that, was there a proposal for a date?
For a time, how often, like?
I was hoping that we could communicate via email to get it done in October prior to the November working of a 2026 budget.
So wait, you just want a budget?
Are you asking for a singular?
Yeah, a singular work
Singular
meeting.
workshop
Yeah,
meeting
a singular
to
work session.
incorporate the shared service agreement?
Shared service agreement and budget, just a work meeting to work out some of our different,
Alright, so a work session,
work session.
Okay, so for a singular work
A
session.
singular work session at this time.
alright, for the shared services agreement.
For the
And
SSA
budget.
and 2026 budgeting. We could have two separate work sessions if you guys prefer.
If we're gonna add a public meeting, there's gonna need to be notice. It need to be published at least 10 days in advance. I'm sorry, 2 days in advance for this meeting. And it would have to be published. So again, just keeping in mind with scheduling, if that's the board's prerogative, we would just need to have enough time to do that noticing.
Okay, I guess then let's vote, try for November so we can do that. But it would start now so we can work as a team to get a date.
Well, then I think you need to have, the resolution should include all, the date, the time, and everything, so that then the professionals can publish for that date and time.
It's just difficult because when I asked if we could do a work meeting, I was told that we could not do it without everyone's approval and that no one was gonna go forward to help me figure out when we could all meet without approval.
Well, again, if we're gonna.
I mean, like, how am I supposed to figure out when everyone's available to work through this
May I make a suggestion?
if no one would help me?
I think, you could have that discussion between now and the October meeting, and then put forth a resolution at the October meeting to add that workshop meeting. Or you could discuss dates for that workshop meeting now, if that's the board's prerogative. But if you're gonna do a resolution to add a workshop meeting, which is a public meeting, you need to have the dates and time and the particulars for the benefit of the public. That needs to be included in the resolution, so that then we can do publishing.
I mean, how do I do that if I can't get emails back about a work meeting? We could try for November 12th, if Rita's available. At 7.
Is it possible to propose it with a tentative date? And then could we amend, would the resolution require amendment in order to publish for a date different than what we decide tonight in the walk-on resolution?
You have to amend it at the next meeting.
But it would already be, if it were to pass this evening, it would just be an amendment to an already passed, much in the way this shared service agreement was presented this evening, correct?
Well, there would need to be a resolution to amend it one way or the other, whether you set it tonight or not. If if you're gonna deviate from what's approved tonight, you would need to do a new resolution.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
You can also, I mean, we can advertise a special meeting if needed. We can advertise for a special meeting. Again, we would just need to have 48 hours advance notice to the, well, we would need it insufficient time to get it to the newspapers for 48 hours notice.
So if I wanted to do that, and I let the director know, he will work with the rest of the committee to make sure that that happens, because I was told that it wouldn't happen.
If that's the board's prerogative.
So basically what any member can say, I'm requesting, I would like to do X, Y, Z on this date. Without violating open public meetings, you email me, I email the board members individually, say this is the date proposed. If there's a majority, then we go about the process of scheduling a special meeting. That's how that would work.
Oh, I wish that was explained to me in the email that said there would in no way be a special meeting.
Nobody ever said there would not be a special meeting. What email was that you're referring to? From me?
Yeah.
I said there was no committee. There's a difference between a public, I don't call public meetings. You guys, the board, call public meetings. I said there was not gonna be a Zoom meeting for the finance committee is what I said. I never said anything about a special meeting. The 5 of you pick when there's meetings, public meetings, held or special meetings.
Okay, I'll forward it along.
So before the board, I think we had a motion in the second for the workshop meeting. Are we going to rescind that, or are we moving forward on that? Are we going to?
I can resend it and send out an email if everyone's willing to actually respond to my emails.
So we don't need a motion for anything right now.
Well, there was a motion in the second, so I guess there should be a, or you could just vote on the motion.
I'd like to vote on the motion.
Oh, okay. So motion for November 12th at 7 o'clock, tentatively, to have a work session, outside of our regular meeting.
Just for clarity though, if the motion is for November 7th, or November 12th at 7 PM, it shouldn't be tentatively, because we're having the board's taking action on the resolution, so
Okay.
just,
Is there a way to word it then, solicitor, where it would be, we would like to walk on a resolution to have a workshop meeting in November at a date that works best for all the board members? A majority of the board members? Because we could then ask, our administrative staff to be present as a result of their employment. You would just need to make sure that the board has the majority availability, because we can't meet all together unless there's a meeting of some kind. So if we said we would like a November meeting at a tentative date that works best for the majority of the board, is that a possibility?
you can certainly do that if that's the board's prerogative, but I don't know that it accomplishes anything, because if we're just setting as a tentative date, then you're still gonna need to have the resolution in October actually scheduling it. So, passing a resolution tonight to tentatively schedule something for November, when ultimately you're gonna need to have board action in October to formally establish it. Again, there's nothing that says you can't do it, but it would just be a symbolic act, I guess.
Okay, so if we go ahead and vote on this 12, we'll know whether or not the majority of the board would be interested in entertaining a date in the future, which we could introduce at the next meeting. Is that, my understanding is correct?
But if we introduce November 12th, 2025 at 7 PM and it passes, then there would
Then we're done.
Then there would be nothing to do
Perfect.
at October.
So,
Thank you for entertaining all this. I was unsure how to do it.
I would, I'll just put on the record that date is the League of Municipalities for those who attend.
good times. Thank you very much for offering that, so as not to face an unnecessary roadblock.
All right, so we have a first and a second, so that's a resolution.
We hadn't confirmed the date yet, so just give us one sec here. If that's the 12th, is that?
The date you said the 12th, that's 7 p.m.
Well, he said tentatively, and then we were back and forth in between it, and then was offered more color. So we hadn't yet established that, is that correct, solicitor?
Do we plan on going to the league?
What he's trying to say is if you're going to do it by resolution, you need to pick a date, it can't be
Right.
tentative. If you guys wanna
Right.
publish a special meeting later, that can be, there's a process for that where you can email me and I pull you independently as far as a date of your based on your calendar's availability for a special meeting. That's what, am I right, solicitor?
You know, let's move it to the 19th at 7 PM. That way we're not conflicting with the League of Municipalities. And that's what I want to hold because I would really like to know whether or not we're gonna have something going on. I'd like to at least have something on the books.
Okay, so just to clarify what I understand.
19th is, no, is that, that's not Thanksgiving, is it? No.
That's the following week.
Oh, but it's another, a meeting. Yeah, I mean, like, leave it on the 12th. And I'm more concerned about everyone else. I'm really happy to do it. So if, yeah, this is my priority as well. So yeah, I'm okay with the 12th as well. And then if it comes, then the 12th actually, I wanna keep it at the 12th. Because I'm not going to the league and I don't know if anyone else is. But if we are, then again, we can change that in October, but it's a good starting point for all of us.
As the pace for the issue.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, since there's been a lot of back and forth, before the board is a motion to have a workshop meeting on the shared service agreement and the 2026 budget, and it's being proposed that it be occur on November 12th, 2025 at 7 p.m.
Yes.
We have first from Gina and a second from Rose. Now we need a regular roll call.
Commissioner Logue,
Yes.
Commissioner Shepherd,
Yes.
Commissioner Gaskell,
No.
Chairwoman Saucier.
No.
Does not.
Solicitor, is there boilerplate language that one might use to propose that special meeting resolution? So that should we decide to approach this again in the future, we could have said resolution prepared for consideration?
Like a blanket?
Yeah, like you were just saying, like we would need to actually have the resolution to bring. So I'm wondering, is there boilerplate language that exists that maybe you feel comfortable sharing with me so that I can potentially use that going forward?
Yeah, I mean, there would be, just like any other resolution, there'd be the whereas the board finds it important to have a meeting to discuss, and then you would put the topics in, and whereas upon the board has availability and have discussed and then now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Fire Commissioners to willing to schedule a special meeting for A, B, and C, and the date and time of that meeting will be.
Okay, thank you very much, appreciate that.
All right, moving on. For public comment on general fire service matters. The public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the board's attention their concerns or comments. The board will respect the public's time by refraining from any comments until the speaker is finished. It should be further noted that the public comment portion of our meeting is not structured as a question and answer session. If the member of the public has questions they seek answers to, an appointment can be made with the appropriate person. We ask that the public state their full name and address for the record and to keep their comments to 3 minutes or less. First row? Sorry, I was still writing.
Hi, Nick Sedano, 47 Garden Street. I'm uncertain as if you guys actually handle this, because this is about good intent. So if the answer to that is no, I won't even bring it up. Is good intent under your purview?
That's our billing, sir.
All right. So I'm really happy that the fire department allows residents to use that parking lot to park, because there's definitely not enough parking. But people have taken it upon themselves to use the handicapped, like, sidewalk ramp as a driveway. It's been going on and on and on for years. And it's destroying the edge of the asphalt. The grass is gone, the dirt has been pushed out onto the sidewalk and down into the street. My suggestion is that some posts be put there in the dirt so that it wouldn't mess with the sidewalk, people still have access. And, just like a post, that would stop it. That's all I got.
I'll address that with Public Works now.
Next. Hi, Louis.
Good evening, this is Louis Weber, 98 Levis Drive. I just want to give thanks to Tim Young. A couple of weeks ago, called 911. He's the one came to help my mom. He's in distress and health issue. I appreciate it. He is making good progress. Thank you very much for coming to my house and rescue my mom. Second is, how I get a bill list of this current meeting. Can I get one tonight, or I have to open request it? That's the second question is. My last question is, I'm broadcasting a 5G 4K streaming, perfect quality, in 4K perfect quality, 120 frames per second. Anyone who wants this meeting, it's going to be uploaded, only edited, fully upload, and that's my only concern. There's way I could get a copy tonight, or I just.
I don't know the answer to that, Louis, but I'm sure that if you email the director, his email's on our website, he could certainly let you know what that process looks like and how to best facilitate it as quickly as possible.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hello, Tara.
Hi, Tara Astor, 416 Buttonwood Street. So, firstly, I've been looking all afternoon up until about 4 o'clock, and the agenda was not uploaded on the website. If it could be uploaded so that, we can all get a look at things beforehand, that would be great. And even more so, to follow along, because it is difficult sometimes to follow with text only. At some time in the future, would it be possible to upload the full text so we can follow along, because the title doesn't really give us a deeper insight into what you're voting on. And, sorry. I was on the website looking for the agenda and last month's minutes, and I stumbled upon the page with the various different committees that everyone is on, and I noticed that Mrs. Gaskell and Ms. Saucier are on the Personnel and Policies Committee, and I'm just wondering, could that be a conflict of interest? I'm not sure what the exact duties are of that committee, but it's just something to throw out there. Thank you.
Next, bro. Mr. Eversmeyer?
Yep, Jeff Eversmeyer, 203 Broad Street. I see a lot of, what you would call it, like the Buildings and Grounds Committee. I remember coming to a meeting a couple months ago and I misinterpreted that they'd actually awarded a contract to somebody. And it seems that Gina Shepherd and Loeb are in charge of Buildings and Grounds, and they did their due diligence to find somebody to take care of the building and maintain the building and clean the building and do all this stuff. And they were told they were just an advisory committee. And Mr., I guess, our new director, picked somebody. I don't know whether it was ever put out to bid or anything. He just picked somebody, and they did the work, and then you pick somebody else that you liked better. I don't know whether the requirements or what exactly pertained to that contract, but I don't think they're on Buildings and Grounds, and they do their due diligence, and they put out something out to bid, and they get two people who want to do the work, and then the director just says, listen, you're just an advisor, you don't really mean nothing. I'm in charge, I'm gonna pick this group. So whoever you picked, I don't even know who they are. Hopefully they're doing a good job and they're following whatever requirements that were asked of them by Loeb. The next question, so then you go to personnel and policies. So are they just advisors to you, Mr. Carty, or are they actually your boss. I don't understand how this works. It's evidently Buildings and Grounds does whatever you tell them to do, and you make all decisions. So how about personnel and policies? Are you in charge, or is actually the board in charge of this?
Just for clarity, I believe that the cleaning contract was awarded by the board.
It was awarded, but, you know, with no input from Building and Grounds, because they had two people that had actually bid on it, and then we hired somebody else. And I was at the meeting when it was told that they're just an advisory committee. They advise.
The committees are advisory to the board, and the board took action.
Okay. So that was my first problem. I don't understand what's going on with that. And then, Mr. Carty, you know, I don't understand why, you know, there's all this drama, and there should be a code of ethics. And that was one of the questions when you were appointed to this director's job, is a code of ethics. And it was brought to my attention today. I was sitting at home, I wasn't even gonna come out, but it was brought to my attention that Mr. Carty posted something about a pedestrian hit by a car at High and Front Street. Put a resident's name in there.
Mr. Abersmeyer,
Yeah.
that has nothing to do with fire.
He's a fire, he works for the fire district.
But it's outside, it has nothing to do with what is going on in the fire district itself.
It speaks to the ethics of the new director. If he's gonna sit there and post something like that and put his name to it, maybe he should respond to it. He represents our district. He represents our district, so what he says represents what's up on the board.
Thank you.
So maybe we'd like to respond to it.
It represents us. It's an emergency service.
3 minutes is up, sir.
Well, thank you for that.
Thank you, Jeff. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Jeff.
Anyone else in that row? Next? I can't count.
Hi, Amber Gobervas, 100 Madison Avenue here in Mount Holly. I hear your feelings on it, Commissioner Saucier, but as a public employee, and this is the public meeting that his employment falls under, I am also a public employee, and I can assure you that if I behaved in this manner, the place that it would come up after my meeting with my boss would be in the public meeting that pertained to my employment. And I know that this will shock no one because the board was fully informed that these are Mr. Carty's behaviors, predilections, hobbies online. But the way that he is speaking about residents of Mount Holly and posting inflammatory remarks about people when he sits in a directorship for an emergency personnel response. I was sitting on High Street when responders were responding to that, and it was alarming. I'd never heard anybody go down High Street that fast, and understandably so. To then go home, right? So we've been since ice cream shop, and knowing something quite serious must be going on. And then I go home, and I go on Facebook, right? Because we all like to late night scroll a little, Mr. Carty included. And to see that that's our fire director's response to post something so inflammatory and personal and misrepresenting what's going on, it's appalling. It's utterly unacceptable. It is, however, not shocking because to paraphrase Mr. Carty's own words about his wife's performance in Lumberton, I assume he must feel the same way about Mount Holly because he doesn't even live here. I guess he's not the fire director of some big city. There's only like 10,000 people in Mount Holly. It's appalling and it's shameful, and I know that this will change nothing other than just inform you that people are paying attention and we are appalled.
Next.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jennifer Musil. I live at 9 Mayor Terrace. I happened to be on Sunday evening. I was with Amber and a couple other people. Likewise, we were sitting there, we were enjoying our time, and heard all sorts of emergency vehicles rush up High Street. Knew, given how quickly they were moving, that it was a really bad situation. I happen to have Pulse Point. I go on Pulse Point because, of course, we want to know what's going on, and to see that there's a collision. So we knew pretty immediately that something was going on. My assumption, and you can correct my assumption, Mr. Carty, is that in your role as director, you also knew what was going on and probably had more information than anybody else except for whoever was on the scene. And so again, I guess to corroborate or reiterate what Amber said, we left thinking, oh my gosh, something really bad has happened. Perhaps somebody has passed away. And not knowing anything, go home, you kind of, sometimes you check like, oh my gosh, did somebody make it? You know, what happened? And then to see this post was just so unbelievably disgusting that I screenshotted it, because screenshots live forever, even if you take a post down. And so I can't understand how someone with any kind of ethical character who might have had more information about what happened could have then posted something so inflammatory just to rile people up, just as a personal attack. So I bring that up because, likewise, this is a fire commission meeting. You make hiring, firing, and ethical decisions about your employees. And I believe that this should be a closed door conversation between you all about how you're gonna handle this kind of behavior, which will just continue. Without any censure, it will just continue. Thank you.
Hi, all. My name is Seth Turner. I live at 200 Broad Street. I'd actually like to address and revisit the question that was raised earlier about the agenda and about the text of the bills or whatever it is that you technically call that are being considered here. So I've never attended a fire commission meeting before, and it was my understanding that it would be posted on an agenda, would be online, and I'd be able to see what was being considered. And there was no agenda, there was no text for any of the bills. And it seems, based on the conversation that we all witnessed here today about the shared services agreement, that there were a lot of holes in the shared services agreement that perhaps should have been dealt with before subjecting all of us to an hour and a half of back and forth over this. So just for the future, might I suggest a bill to mandate that agendas be posted, say 5 days before the business, before the meeting, so that everyone has a chance to see them. And I would also encourage you to spend more time tightening up any ordinances before presenting to the board, because frankly, it seemed like there were some pretty elementary mistakes. Thank you.
Next.
Jim Logan, 16 Peaslick, Lumberton, New Jersey. I often come to these meetings on behalf of my brother at 10 Brainerd, but tonight I'll speak on behalf of both of us. I saw the other day on Facebook, after an incident happened on High Street, that Director Carty posted the name of a resident, Sig Riley, as being responsible for the incident. I think it's insanely disgusting that he would slander a resident of Mount Holly that way when he was not involved in any incident like that. When you are the director of an emergency services department like this, when you report on an emergency like that, you're reporting the news, sir. People take that as news. They take it as fact. So for you to report false statements like that is disgraceful. And I ask for the board to discipline this man. Thank you.
Can I have somebody who's behind you, Mr. Logan? I can't see. Next.
Sake Riley, 25 Broad Street. I didn't even know it was my name until today. Thanks for letting everyone know. I was at a lunch today with the director, and I asked him a question, and I should have known by his Escherson-filled blowout when I asked the question that he was involved. And he denied it, but all I can say is to the girls up there, Nikki, June, Counselor, this keeps going on, you guys are on the hook for it. It's not gonna end well. So if you keep doing this, keep shaking your head, you keep doing this, you're gonna have a big problem. And yeah, should he be censored? Yeah. Do I want him to get hurt? No. But when you guys first hired this guy, he came up here, and I said some good things about him. And I said, I hope you guys aren't setting this guy up for a fall. Maybe you're not setting him up for a fall, but he's certainly setting you up for a fall. Good day.
For the record,
Mr. Riley, at the lunch today that I attended at the Mount Holly Rotary on behalf of the Mount Holly Fire District, I didn't give you any false information. You asked me if we were hiring anyone. I said, no, we're accepting applications for volunteer firefighters. You specifically asked me if we were hiring anyone, and I said, no, that was your question. That was my answer. I don't know what your estrogen comments about, but that's the answer.
Well, I'm not commenting on your hair getting longer. What I'm saying is that you're a liar.
Excuse me, gentlemen, since our chair refuses to take action, I thought we were not having a back and forth, which is why I've largely limited my responses to the bare minimum to redirect them to the proper resources. Is it the position of this board that our professionals will answer? It doesn't matter how many seconds, Mrs.
Ma'am,
Gaskell,
I
I'm a
answered-
commissioner and I'm trying to abide by the rules.
I answered questions of residents when they're relative to board business when I can. They make ridiculous statements, I ignore them. If someone's gonna state a false information about a lunch that was held today, I'm going to correct it and add it to the record. Thank you.
All right, I'll have my time back then, thank you. So, you're saying I asked one question? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, you're a liar, and you know it, because
All right,
I asked
Steve.
2 questions.
No going back and forth, let him
Well,
talk,
there you
he's
go.
got 3 minutes.
I mean, look,
3 minutes is
you're
3
lying, I can prove it.
You have a minute left, sir.
You wanna make a bet?
You have a minute
You
left,
want
sir.
to make a bet it was 2
Public
questions, and you're a liar? And you posted my name on Facebook, and you got caught, and now you're sitting here lying to everybody? Huh? You could have said sorry, I would have left you alone. So how many questions did I ask you?
You're right, she does.
1 or 2?
Enough. Next person, please.
Blinking a lot.
Hello, Ms. Ford.
Maureen Taylor Ford, 117 Branch Street. The demeanor in this room is unremarkable. I guess it's not gonna change, right? It's just not. Moving along, I wanna backtrack. First, I wanna, ask about the community outreach. When are we gonna have tours? When is this museum gonna be open to the public? I've been out of town for some time. I saw that the firehouse had an open house. Not sure what went on in the open house, I'm glad to see it, but when are people going to be able to get in here and tour this so-called museum and tour this firehouse, okay? Moving right along, I wanna backtrack, Director, you was bringing up some information about the engineering designs, the fans circulating, the HVAC system. I am really concerned right now, you know, I think I have a real good baseline of what goes on in fire departments and things like that. I come from a big fire and law enforcement family. So my concern is the amount of money that was spent on this building, it was not in the engineering design, because you made a statement saying that the firehouses today are using these things. When this design was implemented, was OSHA not on board? Was the planning board not on board? Who the hell was not on board that are gonna put these firefighters in harm's risk for toxins, with diesel, contaminating the air? Why was this stuff not written into the original engineering? It's okay if it was written in and you're having a dual redundant performance system, but what I hear, and I could be wrong, is like, this is gonna be the initial. Is this the initial, or is this also just gonna add to the redundancy of what you guys already have? Is it forced air? What kind of contaminants are in that day? Because, you know, firefighters do get cancer. They don't only get skin cancer because of their uniforms, but they do get other airborne cancers. So again, what happened with, who the hell was the engineer? Why aren't they on the line? Why have we not sued them? I mean, I don't understand, I really just don't understand. And I'm trying from her, as a resident, trying to understand where these tax dollars are going. I own 2 properties in this town, so that's double what a lot of other people are paying. Some people own 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 houses. But that is my main question. I'm just, you know, is it a general filtration? What are the air barriers? What are the contaminants? Is it a direct source? You know, you're talking about fans. That is an OSHA safety issue. Okay, I am so glad you guys had training and all the good stuff that goes with that. But you cannot have training in a bay that is contaminating your firefighters. Not even that, most of them are volunteers. So that was one of my other questions. I believe Ms. Rosemary, you made a statement about the people cleaning the bathrooms or such forth of that. Our director was, I believe, in the United States Coast Guard. My husband and I are Navy people. There is some level of morality that does go in learning to care for your own. I don't understand, because, you know, we've been gone, so I don't understand the level of what you were talking about as far as the level of clean, if it's, if they're having the right PPE, or if it's just the fact that it's a duty crew. So as a duty crew in the Coast Guard and in the Navy and all the services, you are expected to do some things, not all things, but you are expected to do some things to care for the place that you inhabit, at your home or whatever, when you're at work.
Thank you, Ms. Ford.
I don't understand, you know, I'm not certain what you were talking about, but I can get with you after. My 3 minutes up, Nicole?
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
I didn't hear.
Ma'am, I'd like to respond to.
I
I'll
didn't hear
give 3
people,
minutes up.
Nicole.
I was-
Come on, I know, it's been a long night.
May I just, one
But I
moment,
did not
for
hear-
clarity's sake, Maureen, the statement that I was talking about, that was prior to the director joining our team, those conversations about needing additional services. So I won't lay that at his feet. The ultimate decision as to which vendor we chose to move forward with was one made by the director after having been presented with 2 options from us and choosing to go in a different direction. But he was not privy to all of the reasoning that had been presented to me as to why it was necessary. So I don't want to lay that on anybody's feet, but ours on the board.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Telfer, I'd like to
Yes.
respond
Yes,
to your
Director.
inquiry about the museum and tours. It is a public building. There's somebody here to give access. We do have a historian, volunteer status, historian, Mr. Shaw, and he gives tours on a regular basis.
Is that published on the website?
No, it's not, because I'm not gonna restrict
I'm walking the
him.
website. I don't
I'm not
see
gonna
nothing.
restrict a volunteer, you know, retiree to tours. It's not his job. He does it on a volunteer
So then
basis.
how are people supposed to know, Mr. Director? How is?
Let me finish, please.
How?
Please let me finish.
Okay.
The museum is a work in progress. Okay, you see there's bare walls over there. They're not gonna be bare. We're cataloging and sorting through a number of artifacts right now from all 4 of the previous fire companies that existed in town. So I would say the soft goal by the end of the year, like, it'll be up and running and everything properly displayed. And we will absolutely have some type of grand opening announcement that the museum is now fit for touring. We still give tours on a regular basis. Here's the new firehouse. Here's the museum. It's a work in progress. Please excuse all the boxes over in the future gym area, because that's where we're staging all the artifacts and stuff. And it's all gonna be properly displayed. This entire room's gonna have a bunch of pictures from different eras gone by, if you will. So as far as that's a work in progress. As far as the station design, and I'm sorry if you took it that way when I said, and I may have referenced design flaws and things of that nature. We are complete OSHA compliant in the station as far as, in fact, we meet all the regulations and even exceed them in some areas where our PPE area, personal protective equipment area, where our firefighters don and doff their gear, is in a separate area with an independent ventilation system now, so there is no chance of cross-contamination, as well as firefighters know that they're to wash their gear, their PPE, after any type of exposure at all. It's a new.
Is there wash machines here?
Absolutely, OSHA compliant. So as far as the fans, that's not an OSHA issue, that's a comfort issue. That's a, you know, quality of life issue, if you will, as far as the bays have heaters in them, and they work, it's fine in the wintertime, but in the summertime, somebody down the road, I can't speak to the design of the station, I had 0 input as far as the design of this facility and the layout, but there was no fans. So, you know, there's a floor fan that was bought, a big 42-inch drum fan earlier in the summer to help circulate, along with a smaller one.
Is it circulating air, or will we circulate here, because it should have already been within the system?
So there's
Is
no
redundant?
forced air system in the
No
bays,
forced air.
because there's no required because it's basically a garage. Okay, so it's a garage that has heaters, it has the exhaust fan I mentioned.
These are diesel trucks, correct?
There's diesel, they all have a capture system on them. Not only do anything new produced has a built-in capture system on the diesel, all diesel vehicles it's required, which is using a DEF system. But we have an exhaust system. It's commonly referred to as.
Is this by hose, or is this by the unit itself? The fire
On
truck
each
itself?
truck, there is a hose connected to the exhaust pipe that captures it when it's started, so we can actually run the truck inside, not take it outside in the crazy cold to check the trucks. so it can run inside and not expose anyone to any
So
particulates.
this additional fan is pretty much just to cool down the area. I'm assuming.
Correct, this is creature comfort area, because I'll be honest, in the summertime, it was like 90 degrees in the bays. It was
Okay, all right, very
pretty
well.
intolerable.
No, I misunderstood you.
No, it's okay, I'm sorry that I led you to believe
Thank
that
you.
it was a OSHA violation.
Steak Rise, 25 Broad Street, I have something breaking, I just got the minute sent.
have to wait till everybody is done.
All right, does anyone else want to say something? You? Sorry.
All right, Shepherd, 29 Ridgeway Street. I just thought that the commissioners might need a little historic perspective. As a member of council when the fire district was created, the intent of council was to separate the costs of providing fire services from the cost of providing municipal services, because the cost of fire services was so much increasing so much more than they had anticipated. In creating a fire district which was separate and distinct of tax, tax generating, establishment that did that. When putting together your shared service agreement, may I ask you to separate the costs of providing township services from the cost of fire services, so that these separation of costs, the township pays their share of the cost that does not cover the fire services. So in fact, I know the township has paid for things like trailers to provide offices. They're not doing that in this case. At least the township should be responsible for some of the costs associated with providing municipal employees with office facilities. That's not unreasonable, and that was the intent of council at the time. Thank you.
Anyone else in the back? Mr. Riley, you get 2 minutes.
This is important because it speaks to the director's either poor memory or lack of ability to tell the truth.
I will say this, if it has nothing to do with fire services,
It does actually, because there was a nasty accident that happened, and as a director, he should know better. So he just told the whole room and the rest of you that that question wasn't asked at a meeting, and I have a recording of that question asked. Would you people like to hear?
Mr. Riley, you stated, you asked me which question. I said, at that lunch today, I said, do you have a question
Would anyone like
relative
to
to
hear
the fire
what-
district?
what-
And I answered your question relative to the fire district.
Please do not interrupt, he's got 2 minutes, sir.
Yeah. Would anyone like to hear what the director said in response to my second question that he apparently said I never asked? Anybody? Yeah? You guys want to hear it?
Mr. Riley? Sure. Would it be possible for you to just forward that in an email to the board for its consideration?
Let's hear it.
No, we want to hear.
Let's hear it. Right here.
One last question, actually 2, are you still hiring for the firehouse?
We're not hiring anyone.
You still have the application up, you're still hiring people?
You're always accepting volunteer fire.
Second question, you think it's a good idea to be on Facebook on Sunday, writing about accidents that happen?
As far as what?
Putting posts on RVs, saying someone's name in this room was involved in an accident with a New York plate? I think that's why.
This came from the fire district post, fire district website?
It came from the fire director.
Did not.
Who was you?
No, it did not.
Fire district.
Nothing to do with the fire district, so that's what I stated. I stated that.
You want to sue it? This is not the appropriate thing. I'm just asking for smart idea.
Now you know where the estrogen comes from. But yeah, I asked to,
Estrogen?
and you lied, and you got caught. So give it up and knock it off.
I told you.
Knock
nothing to
it
do with
off.
fire
Why
district.
did you give it up and knock it off?
I told you it had nothing to do with the fire district.
Professional.
Just be quiet.
That's
Thank you.
Oh, I'd like to
Vice
knock it
President
off.
Rotary told you.
He's a professional, he should act professional.
And these are our taxpayer
You're out of
dollars,
order,
I don't pay taxes
Officer,
to
can you
have,
please remove that?
Have people doing
Both
things
of
like
them.
this.
This is my tax money, I don't need to be harassed.
Ooh.
Public portion is now closed. Solicitors, you have anything?
I will reserve my comments for executive session. I do see here that the executive session 2025-45 includes contract negotiations. I don't have anything.
Same thing as last time, same way.
Okay, sorry.
Continue.
So both items, both contract and attorney-client items.
All right, can I have a motion to go into executive session? And by the way, I have nothing for my report, sorry. Skipped it. I make a motion.
I second.
Commissioner Lowe?
Yes.
Commissioner Shepherd? Yes. Commissioner Gaskell?
Yes.
Chairwoman Saucier?
Yes.
May I take your indulgence in a few minutes to use the restroom? Thank you. Oh, girl.